Today, we are diving into one of the sharpest, funniest, and let's be honest, most controversial satires ever written, Jonathan Swift's A Tale of a Tub.
So let's just jump right in with the big question, the one that really unlocks this whole thing. How on earth can a simple coat explain 1,000 years of religious history? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But it's an absolutely brilliant setup.
All right, so let's set the scene. It's 1704. Jonathan Swift, the same guy who's going to give us Gulliver's Travels later on, just unleashes this masterpiece. And at its heart, it's what looks like a simple fable about a father, his 3 sons, and what they inherit. But as you're about to see, nothing is ever that simple with Swift.
Okay, so first up, A Father's Strange Will. We're talking about the inheritance of 3 identical coats. Here's the deal. A father is on his deathbed, and he gives his 3 boys, Peter, Martin, and Jack, each a coat. They're identical, they're simple, they're perfect. And his will has one single, absolutely critical command. Do not change these coats. Don't add anything, don't take anything away, ever. Now this, right here, this is the decoder ring for the entire story. The Father, that's God. His will, that's the New Testament. The simple coats represent the original, pure Christian faith. And the 3 brothers, well, they stand for the major branches of Christianity. This is the key to everything, so let that sink in. So, how does this all go down? Well, let's start with the first brother, Peter. This is a guy who pretty quickly develops some very expensive tastes. Peter decides his plain coat is, kind of boring. It's not fashionable. So he starts adding stuff. A little gold lace here, some fancy ribbons there, shoulder knots, all the latest trends. He finds all these clever loopholes in the will to justify every single change until the simple coat is just buried under all this decoration. And there it is, Swift's first major target. Peter represents the Roman Catholic Church. For Swift, all those decorations, the gold lace and ribbons, were symbols for the pomp, the rituals, the saints, and all the traditions that he believed had been added to and corrupted the simple faith of the New Testament. Next up, we meet brother number 2, Jack. And if Peter was all about adding more, Jack represents the exact opposite, and way more chaotic extreme. Jack takes one look at Peter's flashy coat and is just filled with absolute rage. He gets obsessed with purity. So, in this furious fit, he tries to rip all the decorations off his own coat. But he's so violent and so fanatical about it that he doesn't just tear off the additions, he rips the original fabric to shreds, leaving him with nothing but a tattered mess. So, who is this supposed to be? Well, Jack is Swift's stand-in for the Protestant dissenters, groups like the Puritans. Swift is absolutely mocking what he saw as their destructive fanaticism. He's saying that in their rage against Peter's excesses, they ended up destroying the very thing they claimed they wanted to save. Which brings us to our third brother, Martin. He's the one who tries to find a sensible path right down the middle of these 2 chaotic extremes. Martin doesn't like the gaudy decorations either. But instead of flying into a rage like Jack, he starts taking them off carefully, piece by piece. And this is the crucial part. If he gets to a decoration that's so stuck on that removing it might actually tear the original coat, he stops. He chooses to preserve the coat over achieving some kind of absolute perfect purity. And this guy, Martin, he's basically Swift's hero in this whole story. Martin represents the Church of England, or Anglicanism. Swift is holding it up as the middle way. It's not perfect, it still has a few of the old decorations left on it, but it's a sensible, moderate compromise that has kept the core of the coat, the faith, intact. So you can really see Swift's main argument laid out here, right? On one side, you've got Peter, who corrupts the truth by just adding more and more stuff. On the other side, you've got Jack, who destroys the truth by violently subtracting everything in a fit of rage. 2 extremes, both damaging. But hold on. As clever as all this religious stuff is, Swift was aiming at something even bigger. What if the fight over the coats wasn't really about religion at all? This is Swift's ultimate punchline. Yes, the story is a brilliant takedown of religious history, but the thing that makes it timeless, the reason we're still talking about it today, is that it's really a story about us. It's about human nature. The fight isn't just about theology, it's about pride, vanity, and the lust for power.
It's about how we humans can take a simple, beautiful truth and twist it to serve our own egos. So what was Swift really trying to do? Well, you can kind of boil it down to three things. 1. Expose how powerful institutions twist simple truths for their own gain. 2. Make the case for moderation, arguing that the middle path is the safest way. And 3, the big one. Hold up a mirror and show us how our own pride and foolishness are the real source of our conflicts.
And get this, the book is famous for these long, rambling sections called digressions that seem to go nowhere. But they're not mistakes, they're part of the joke. Swift uses them to make fun of how intellectual fads and pointless academic debates distract us from what's actually important, just like the brothers' obsession with fashion distracted them from their father's simple will.
So in the end, what Swift gives us is this, a powerful and a pretty dark but also hilarious picture. Through the story of three brothers and their coats, he shows how human institutions are fundamentally shaped by our worst impulses, our vanity, our hypocrisy, and our sheer foolishness.
And that really brings us to the final, crucial question. Swift wrote this over 300 years ago, but it feels like he could have written it yesterday. It forces us to ask ourselves, what are the simple coats in our world today? Our political ideas? Our scientific truths? What simple things are we either covering with useless decorations or trying to tear to shreds in a fit of fanatical purity? Because it seems the tale of the three brothers, well, that's a story that never really ends.